All right. Okay. Good morning, almost afternoon, everyone. Can I have everyone to grab your food and take a seat? We're gonna get started. Are you ready? All right. Okay. Thanks, Chris. Okay, all right. Yes, good morning and welcome to our Well Played and our executive lunch event. To everyone who's watching us online too, welcome. And I'm glad that you're able to spend your lunch hour with us here today to learn more about our company, learn more about who we are, what we do, how we help people, and most importantly, why you're here. So we appreciate your time. And probably something that you don't know, but you're sitting in one of the top 3 offices in the fastest growing company in the biggest industry, financial services. Pretty cool, right? And I say that because in the last few years, many companies had to either like lay off people or have to shrink the workforce. They have to basically make some decision that is not in the growth direction for the company. Well, our company has been growing consistently every single year, right? At least 10 years that I can remember. And so that's why we're the fastest growing. And as sitting in one of the biggest offices or the top offices in the company, all of that basically is due to, I mean, basically our office plays a huge role, right? A huge role in that growth in our company. And what it means is that we just basically help more people every single year. Right, so in the fact that 2020, the year of the pandemic, guess what? We had the biggest year. 2020 was the biggest year in our company history. And 2021 was even bigger than 2020. And this year, we're already on track to beat 2021, right? And all of that, I would say, being a top 3 office in the company is due to the dedication and the passion and the commitment of the person who basically runs our office here, our speaker. Okay, I hope to get to meet Chris, but a little bit about Chris. So Chris came to us with a background as a CPA, working for one of the largest international accounting firms consulting firm out there. Okay, and as successful as he was in his career, he still felt that something was missing in his career at that time. And what he was looking for was missing is that the satisfaction of doing more meaningful work and have more positive impact in more people's lives. And also at the end of the day is to provide financial freedom for himself and his family. He was missing that. He didn't get that. Well, luckily for us, he found the career that allows him to do more meaningful work in our industry. And he found the vehicle that allows him to have financial freedom in our company. So needless to say, in the last 23 years, Chris has achieved financial freedom for himself. But the reason he's still here working with us is because his passion is all about helping people and helping more people to become financially free, right? So in the last 23 years, he has helped not just himself, but several high-up agents who achieve solid six-figure income-earning entrepreneurs. I always emphasize entrepreneurs. There's a difference between entrepreneurs, six-figure income-earning entrepreneurs, and employees, right? And they're also on track to achieve financial freedom for their family too. And so also he has developed his practice of having like over 200 licensed agents working in 16 different offices in our country, okay, throughout the country. The key thing is this: altogether, we have helped tens of thousands of families get their financial household in order. His passion for helping people having a better life, he and his wife, Marlo, have published a book called Couples Money. The goal, again, is to help people make better decisions with their money. So I highly recommend you to go and get that book. It's called Couples Money. So needless to say, he and his wife was also interviewed and featured by the leading institutions, financial institutions out there, like Yahoo Finance, MarketWatch, NASDAQ.com, Money magazines, Forbes magazines, and Fortune magazine. So with that, you're in a treat to hear from Chris today. Please help me welcome.
Awesome. He's new. He's new. He doesn't mind. Okay. All good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Great being with you guys today. Thanks, Tenza. Best intro ever. Welcome live Zoom. This is our new world, and welcome to our new office. Moved here on April 1st. It's phenomenal. So what we're going to talk about today is in the United States, we have a major problem. It's a crisis. We call it a wealth crisis. It's the fact that people are mainly financially illiterate. They don't understand how money works. It causes major problems, and it causes a lot of stress. Who's ever experienced financial stress before? Not good, no fun. And until now, there hasn't been a real solution to that problem, whether that be through our school systems, the industry, in our own homes with our own parents. And so we at WealthWave have discovered a solution. So what we're going to talk about today is the problem, our solution to it, and then potentially what is your role in helping us advance our mission of stamping out and eradicating financial illiteracy in the United States. So you might be here for different reasons. First and foremost, you might be a current client. I just want to say thank you, because we don't exist without you. And we're just grateful for you. Thanks for tuning in. You might be here as a potential client. You want to level up your financial literacy, learn more about how money works, see how we operate. So we welcome you. You might be here like I was many years ago, frustrated with your career, want to have more time, more control, want to make a bigger impact, want to do better financially for you and your family. So you're really looking at us from a major career change standpoint. So we welcome you. You might be here as somebody, you know what, I love what I do. However, the pandemic taught you that you could stand to make and save more money. Can anybody use more money?
Yes.
Yeah, just Carl. Okay, great. It's awesome. No, I mean, people just need to, we'll talk about the need to make more money. So you're really looking at as part-time business opportunity. In that group, I would call trusted advisors. We have a lot of trusted advisors here, where you're in mortgage, you're in real estate, you're an independent property and casualty, you're a CPA, you have a client base that loves you and you want to add more value to them and bring more money to you and create that win-win situation. So we call you power partners. So you're a power partner. You might be here, somebody that's like, you know what, Chris, I have no interest in what you're talking about. I'm good financially, I'm good with my career, but whoever invited you, like, your opinion means a lot to them. We call you a center of influence. And my goal with that group is I want to turn you into a raving fan. You guys know what a raving fan is? Somebody sees a great movie, goes to a great restaurant, they tell the world about how great that is. At the end of this experience, I want you to feel that way about us, connect with whoever invited you, and make introductions in your market so you can help them grow their business. The tens of thousands of people we've helped, almost all of it has come from those introductions. So you're super important to what we do. So welcome. My background, grew up in Loveland, Colorado, 60 miles north of Denver, two great parents that were financially illiterate. They don't understand how money worked. They argued over money. They fought over money. They stressed over money. They divorced over money. 60% of divorces are tied back to financial stress. 5 leading killers in the United States today, stress related. My mom worked her entire life, passed away way too early at 64, and had a grand total of $10,000 saved, okay? Colon cancer was the reason. I think the root of that was stress around money. From the time she was 5 until she was 64, always worried about how she was going to pay her bills. There was never enough money. My dad miraculously made it to 88, passed away about 4 years ago, and died broke with every stress-induced illness you can think of. And so where do we take our money cues from? Our parents, right? And one of my parents tell me, probably what your parents told you, go to school, get good grades, get a good job with good benefits, don't rock the boat, don't take risks, and when you're 65, everything's gonna turn out okay. Who got that story? How's it working? For most, it's a pretty broken model, okay? And we know that because well over 90% of Americans retire broke. We live in the richest country on the planet and people just struggle around money. But I said, okay, let's do it. Went to Colorado State University, got an accounting degree. I moved down to Denver in 1993, got into my corporate CPA world. And for the next 7 years, I worked 60, 70, 80 hours a week, trading time for money, climbing the corporate ladder, doing what everybody else was doing. And then my turning point came during one of my most memorable weeks of my career. I was supervising a group of 8 people. We had a looming deadline that fell the Monday after Easter Sunday, and it was looking like we were going to have to work Easter Sunday. So to my mom, Easter Sunday was the holiday. And when I told her, hey, probably not going to be here, she gave me that look that only a mom can give you, right? Which is figure it out, right? Your butt better be here. So figure it out, I did. Tons of coffee, worked 120 hours in a 6-day period. I basically didn't sleep. We got the job done. I showed up, I came home 11 o'clock on Saturday night before Easter Sunday. My brother and I lived together. He hadn't seen me in a week. He was sending me voicemails and emails like, where are you? Like, what's going on? You're not coming. Like, what, are you kidnapped? Like, do we need to get ransom going? Like, what's happened? And when you're that tired, I don't know if you've ever worked that hard, when you come in, what's the last thing you want to have happen?
Somebody talk to you.
Talking to me, that's good. Even worse is questions, right? So I didn't want to talk, I wanted a beer and I wanted a bed. And so this is the closest to family intervention I've ever had in my life. My brother's like, what are you doing? And why are you doing that? And are you going to do that for the next 30 years? So we got in a little heated argument and I hated it at the moment, but the blessing my brother gave me is he woke me up out of this hypnotic trance I was in. And us humans basically live in a hypnotic state. And studies show that 91% of our thoughts today are identical to yesterday. And so the real secret is if you want to change your life, you got to change your thinking. But if it's just this repetitive thing, then your life turns out Bill Murray Groundhog Day. That was mine. Just the same thing over and over again because I didn't change my thinking. So every once in a while, we need a jolt to our system that gets us to do the thing we want to avoid doing, which is actually the hardest work on the planet, and that is to actually think. And so the next day, I grabbed a pad of paper, I carved out several hours, and I grabbed a book called Think and Grow Rich. Notice the order, Think and Grow Rich. And the story of that book, highly recommend you pick it up. Napoleon Hill, in his early 20s, gets working for a magazine, gets introduced to the Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos of that time, right? A guy named Andrew Carnegie, wealthiest man on the planet, founder of US Steel, worth $500 million in the 20s. Here's a 20-year-old, he's got a 3-hour block of window to basically go in and interview him. And he was instructed, all you got to do is ask one question. How'd you do it? What created your success? Well, 3 hours turned into 3 days. Carnegie just went boom, unloaded. You can imagine what your notes would look like if you sat down with somebody like that for 3 days. So the interview ends, Napoleon Hill's armed with, pages and pages of notes. Carnegie, operating under his intuition, said, hey, I actually think we're onto something here, because what people need today, and it's the same 100 years later, is people need to understand the laws that create success in their life. And he's like, you're going to write this book. My role is you're going to interview my friends. I'm going to introduce you to Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Woolworth, Wrigley, Rockefeller, 8 presidents, 5 prime ministers. And you're going to follow them around. It's probably going to take you decades. It ended up being Napoleon Hill's life's work. But what I want you to do is I want you to glean from all those 500 people the common things, the common denominators that made them successful. Get them in a book so that an average and ordinary person can grab the concepts, apply it to their life, and they too can do what those people did. Might want to get it. So whether you want to have a successful marriage, business, finance, you name it. If you work these concepts, your life works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm reading this, I'm in my late 20s, and 3 things hit me. Number one is nobody told me this stuff. Like nobody told me. Like my parents had no clue. It's why they struggled. They didn't understand those laws. It's kind of like not understanding gravity. You probably won't understand that. Schools don't teach it. Corporations aren't going to tell me that. So that was the first thing. The second thing that blew me away was I thought everybody in that book, they're just greedy capitalists, right? I'm like, oh, they're just chasing money, right? Because media and society likes to portray wealthy people in a positive light or negative light. Super negative. So I was viewing it that way. And so what I discovered was, no, they, like us, were actually on a big mission. They wanted to make a big impact. They wanted to solve problems for as many people as possible. The bigger the problem they solved, the more money they made. So as I tell my guys, serve people, go to the bank in that order, and we'll never have a problem. So they were mission driven. I wasn't mission driven. I was busy. I was trading time for money. Has anybody ever felt that way? I was trading time for money. The third thing that blew me away about that book was everyone he interviewed had these things called dreams. I was like, dreams? What the hell are those? Right? What happened to it? Did we not have dreams at some point? Well, where do they go? You ever wondered? Where do dreams go? And so dreams fall into this quadrant of our lives called important, non-urgent. What else is over there? Health, spirituality, relationships, money, which is why we do these conversations, until at some point they become what? Urgent and important. And at that time, you can do very little about it. It's too late. And so dreams fall over there. And then what happens is we get what? Busy. It's my least favorite thing when I ask people, how are you? And they go, oh, busy. You'll never hear me say that. Don't ever say it. What happens is we deal in mainly urgent things. This thing, the weapon of mass distraction right here, right? Most of it's not important. Some of it's important. And when you deal with urgency, what happens? This stuff does what? Takes a back seat, falls away. That's why 90% plus people are broke. Unfortunately, that's what was happening to me. I was busy. Wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, rinse, repeat, chasing dollars, all that stuff. So I sat down and I asked myself, what do I really want my life to look like? Had never thought of it. Sitting down. Highly recommend you do this. We'll never see you again. Probably the best thing you can do is schedule time with yourself, grab a pad of paper, give yourself adequate time, put your weapon of mass distraction away for several hours, and ask yourself, what do you really want? The top 2% do it, everyone else is just busy. I'll get to it later. So I did it. I got super excited. And it wasn't about making a bunch of money and having a bunch of stuff, but it was about time, control, right? About calling my own shots, making an impact, having financial peace of mind. That's what I wanted. I was super excited. And then I got quickly depressed because I looked at my vehicle. And I knew that being an employee was never going to give me that. So I called it the moment of truth. And the moment of truth was I could do what most do and shrink this to fit inside my vehicle, or never give up on that and go search for the vehicle. It's going to get me this. So it took me a year. Totally frustrating process because I knew I had to be an entrepreneur. I looked at every business under the sun, 80% failure rates, lots of capital I didn't have, no mentoring, no coaching, no systems. And then I landed on financial services. And I started interviewing at the big firms, household names. You guys would all know. They're like, come on board. We'd love to have you. First step, make a list of all your friends that have over $1 million in assets. Let's go talk to them. I grew up in Loveland, Colorado. That was zero. I said, hey, my mom will surely take an appointment with us. Let's go meet mom. What does mom got? 10 grand. No. I can't even help my own mom, and you guys want me to sell out to your whole thing? No. Turned it away, totally frustrated, about to give up. And then I got introduced to this, February 1999, a long time ago. And I showed up skeptical because I found out that broke people are skeptical, and I was broke and skeptical. So I showed up, arms crossed. When's this going to be done? Get me the hell out of here. And then Eric Jensen, my future business partner, got up and spoke. And he said 3 things that totally transformed my life. Number 1 is, he said, we're actually on a mission. We want to stamp out financial literacy. We want to teach the masses what the wealthy know. And I said, man, I know what financial stress, I know what financial lack does to a family. Wrecked mine completely. I'm like, I'll never get tired of that. I'm 23 years into this. I've done this talk, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of times. I still get juiced. Why? Because I just love what we do. I love what we do. Most guys have been doing this 23 years. They're trying to find a golf course today. They're trying to get away from this. I've never been more after it than ever because it's a big freaking problem and we got to do something about it. So that sang to me. It never get old. Purpose driven. Second thing he told me was I could get licensed and then I could test drive the business part-time. Because all these other firms I was talking to, where there's a 90% failure rate in financial services in the first 2 years, one of the reasons is you come in and you got to make it happen right away. It takes a while to develop. I think well past 2 years. But right as you're getting good, they show you the door. And most business models in financial services, that's actually what they want. They want you to go out there and collect clients. Can you? Clients roll up to them. Fat cats don't need to work anymore. They weren't that interested in me. They were interested in who I knew, and that was it. And so he said, yeah, part-time, man. Like, get licensed, give it 6 to 10 hours a week. Let's see what happens. So I was part-time for a year, went full-time in February 2000. Never looked back. And the third thing he said that literally was, it cinched it for me. He said, hey, do the right thing. And you wake up on January 1st, and you will have a business that pays you a recurring revenue stream. And if it's greater than your bill, you have the first step of financial independence. And I said, whoa, wait, what is that? What are you talking about? He said, that's it, man. That's how it works. If your recurring revenue from your business is greater than your bills, you've reached financial independence. You work because you want to, not because you have to. It's called work optional. And here I was, a CPA. I thought I was smart. All this schooling I took, no one had ever explained to me a path to financial independence, ever. And he did in 30 seconds. Said, I'm in. So I was horrible. I spent the first year talking people out of doing business with me. Got fully licensed. I sucked at this thing. But I went full-time in February 2000, and here we are. And I kind of just feel like we're just beginning and we're better than ever and we're excited. So that message either resonates with you. If it doesn't, don't check out. Be thinking about who you could connect for the person that invited you, because it's super important, right? And just get intentional about that. So we're the How Money Works company. So there's 2 things that we do. The front part of this conversation is really about talking about financial literacy. And we'll talk about our book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. But that quote right there, we teach people how money really works so they can break the cycle of financial literacy. That's what this company did for me, right? What I want you guys to understand is there's companies that claim they do what we do. It's not necessarily about what we do. I want you guys to understand why we do it. So even though I had, all the knowledge, if I would not have ran into this company, I would have perpetuated poverty in my family for generations. I would have found a way to totally screw it up. I would have self-sabotaged. This company broke it. And now my 21-year-old and 18-year-old, they'll never see it. right? Because they got equipped. So it's a little bit more about it's a little bit less than coming over here and selling stuff and making money, right? This is a real mission. This is real impact. And having done this for 23 years and seen the ripple effect of our efforts, it's really powerful, okay? So I can speak to that. Second thing we do, which I think is actually bigger, it's moving people from being employees, lack of time, lack of control, lack of financial upside to becoming an entrepreneur. I think it's the biggest mission on the planet. There's an author out there, a guy named Josh Tolley. I'm going to throw a bunch of books at you guys today. Get your hands on them, start reading and educating yourself on this stuff. His name's Josh Tolley. He wrote a book called Evangelpreneur. Evangelpreneur. Unbelievable book. And one of the things he claims in there, what's the hot word? Inflation. Well, guess what? Inflation's been a pain in the butt for 100+ years. Real inflation has been well in excess of 10% for 100+ years. His book has all the data on it. And I could give you guys tons of stories that back up the fact that inflation is not 3% or 8% that they talk about today. It's well in excess of 10%. Real wage growth for an employee is 3%. So you don't have to be a math wizard to understand what? If prices are going up 10% and your wages are growing up 3%, what's the problem? You're falling behind 7% every year. So Gwen Hartzler, one of our great agents in Oklahoma, sent me this book during the pandemic, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh my God, nobody knows this. They're all walking around trading time for money, right? Spending 40, 50 hours working their butts off, and they have no prayer. Like, I gotta tell everybody about this, right? And some people I tell them and they don't care, and I'm like, you're not my person. Right. And so what's happened the last couple of years is I just sit down with clients, some of our clients, and we just have a real conversation. The only way out of the inflation wave is you must become an entrepreneur. It's not optional. So I'm just waking people up, right? I tell my clients, I'm like, when you want to know your house is on fire? Hopefully right away. Your financial house is on fire because you can't continue to have job job and be falling behind 7% per year. Once again, if you don't care about that, that's okay. But I'm here to make you understand that you've got to do something about it. So I start brainstorming with my clients, right? And for those that are looking at the business, I think we're the greatest fit on the planet, but we don't have to be the only fit. But you got to do something. You must. We're living in a gig economy. Why do you think Uber exists? Airbnb, DoorDash. People are understanding that their corporate job's not going to make it happen. They got to have a 1099 entrepreneurial business going on the side. I just think we're the best option. But if we're not an option for you, sit down, think, use your brain, go through it, and come up with some ways that you can bring more money into your house. That's a big one, right? So our mission, stamp out financial literacy so families can dream again. There's that D word. Okay. And one thing I know from living a chunk of my life in financial lack, it's tough to dream when you can't make it. Right. And so we want to help people get moving with that. So two things that stand in our way. Number one is scarcity financial education. Schools don't teach this predominantly. My accounting background, I never took a personal finance class. When I came here, I did not understand how money worked. Not crazy, CPA. So if the CPA is clueless, what does the rest of society look like? It's unbelievable. And what you guys need to understand about our industry, for the last 100 years, our industry's won big time. The consumer has lost big time. We are here to flip it. Okay, we need to flip that because the less you know about how money works, the more money they make. It's a mess. We got to change it, right? So the financial industry, and then helping people understand that they're dying the death of 1,000 cuts. They're blowing 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks a day on stuff. Does anybody do that? Nobody. Nobody wants to raise their hand. Nobody raise their hands. Yeah. So I lived that. Almost created a divorce. So I wrote a book called Couples Money. I wasn't spending money on big stuff. It was the small stuff, right? And I'm like, why is it not working financially for us? Well, the real secret is if you want to make big things happen in your life, it's all about small things cared for. Guess who wasn't taking care of small dollars? This dude. So when our office, way back in the day, was downtown at 17th and Stout, across the street, there was a Quiznos. I don't know what my thing is with Quiznos. I just love Quiznos. I think I'm the only one that likes Quiznos. Anyway, love Quiznos. So every day for 5 years, 5-6 times, a week, it was $15, $20. And our ego has a funny, clever way of convincing us to do things that are stupid, right? So you had a bad day, go. You had a good day, celebrate, right? This is the stuff that was going on in my mind. And so we are getting further behind financially. And I read a book called Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. Game changer. One of the only financial books that talks about your money blueprint. You have the subconscious blueprint for everything in your life. This book is dialed in around money. Guess whose money blueprint repelled wealth? This guy, because of what I learned from my parents. And the way I repelled wealth is I spent stupid dollars. So I'm reading this book, and he says, until you start managing the money that you have now well, you won't see anymore. I mean, I've read that quote probably 20 times. This time was different. So I pulled up a financial calculator on the internet, and I'm like, okay, I'm blowing $300-400 a month at Quiznos. Cocktails, happy hours, coffee. It was unbelievable. So if I wouldn't have blown that over the last 5 years, I plugged in a calculator. If I would have just saved that money at 8% moving forward, guess what? It was a big number. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, because it's not the money that you blow, it's what it would have grown into. Nobody makes that connection. I said, I'm not going to do it. So my wife and I, we got together. It wasn't about budgeting or any of that stuff. That's just fine. We cut out stupid money spending. And we developed what's called a healthy respect for money. The people that are broke said, well, you can't love money. It's not good. It's not about loving money. It's about respecting money. Right? Money's a relationship. Money's a relationship. And it's either functional or it's not based on what's going on in your life. So I started respecting dollars. And guess what happened? Everything changed. Everything transformed. And so I was down there a few months ago, walking downtown, 17th and Stout. That Quiznos is no longer there, you know? You know why? Because I'm no longer there. Right? I'm no longer there. I moved out, that place went in the dumpster. Anyway. So meet with whoever invited you and find the stuff that's blowing out of your life. You can't see that stuff. We all have blind spots. People that struggle don't want you to look at their blind spots. The world-class successful people want feedback. They want coaching. Make sure you follow up with whoever invited you and get that handled. Okay. Working. Okay. So in the book that came out, this book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, that's on the first page. Financial literacy is the #1 economic problem in the United States. I read that. The book came out in November of 2019. The pandemic hit us, what, February, March of 2020. They said that. I'm like, man, that's pretty bold. Is that really it? Is that really the #1 problem? And then boom, pandemic hits. People waiting for $1,200 stimulus checks. Where I live, right? Restaurants been open for decades. Some of the sharpest business owners on the planet. They're 2 weeks away from closing their doors. I'm like, man, these people are brilliant. They're great business owners, but they don't understand how money works. This is a problem. And the pandemic proved that statement out. It was unbelievable, right? Because people don't have enough, right, to cover emergencies and student debt. We have a great student debt solution. Here's student debt. Connect with whoever invited you. Average credit card balances, and right, 33% of Americans have zero retirement savings. Unbelievable. And our industry is like, no, we'll just keep, right? Because in our industry, you have people focus on the high net worth, and then you got people that just kind of sell a product. That's it. There's not this holistic program to serve and help people at the middle class level. So Tom Matthews, founder of WealthWave, you guys can Google Steve Siebold. He's a personal coach and mentor of mine. Steve wrote a book called How Rich People Think. He wrote a book called 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. He sold over 2.5 million books, been on Today. So anyway, unbelievable. Steve did a 6-month research project on our firm. I was one of 30 people got interviewed for that. And after 6 months, he wrote this book and he's like, this thing's awesome. So here's a multi-decamillionaire that decided 3 years ago to get into business with us because he wasn't about making money for him, because he believed so wholeheartedly in the mission. These two can combine. Got with a guy named Andy Horner, who's the best illustrator ever. They said all the books out there around money. You guys ever read a money book before? Enthralling or not? I love this stuff, and I'm literally like, I mean, it's I'm asleep, right? Like the prints like this, and it's just, I'm like, ugh, yuck. Well, this book has pictures. Those are jelly beans. Right? We're gonna teach you about money by using jelly beans, right? We're gonna do that. Isn't that funny how I got to that page? Right? We got characters and colors, and it's written in 5th grade English. And Tony Robbins' money book's this thick, and ours is this thick, and you can read it in an hour and a half. #1 selling financial book of 2020, 2021, and so far 2022. Over 250 media appearances. Why? Simple, easy, approachable. You can read it in an hour and a half. People learn more about how money works reading this book, we've heard, than they have in their entire lives. So we need people that are mission-driven first, that want to hand a book to someone to improve their life and start a conversation. Sometimes they come to us, they want to know more. Sometimes they go someplace else. Hey, use your own advisor. I don't really care, but you got to do something, okay, before it becomes important and urgent. So if you're looking at us, this is a great space to be in financial services, because the average age of someone in our industry is 62. 20 years ago is 42. Same people. It's mainly white male. The biggest need ever in the history of the United States, and they're getting out. It's crazy. Our firm, massively diverse. We have the highest percentage of females in the industry, almost 2 to 1. We've been there for like the last 7 or 8 years, right? 18-year-olds, 80-year-olds, every color, I mean, it's unbelievable. We're gonna have a convention in Vegas in about 6 weeks. You go, and it's just a melting pot of people. It's beautiful, right? So our industry is like the taxi cab industry. We're Uber, right? We're here to disrupt it. But if you're looking at us from a career standpoint, part-time, full-time, the reason you want to consider it is because the numbers are massive, okay? Boomers, they spend a lot of money. They don't have enough money, but they're healthy. Most of them are healthy. Most of them don't want to, cash it in. I gotta get that study up. The study, right? I just wrote a new chapter in my book. It's called You're Too Young to Be Old. And there's a study in there, New England Medicine, New England Journal of Medicine. It's phenomenal. I was talking to my buddy. He's turning 55. I'm like, he's literally talking like he's over the hill. I'm like, oh, dude, you're freaking killing me. Right? I sent him the study. You enter your prime in your 60s, and you don't end it until you're in your 80s. The most productive years of your life are 60 to 70. The second most productive, 70 to 80. The third most is 50 to 60. I just turned 50. And I found myself falling into this stupid paradigm that I'm getting old. And then that study came. I'm like, oh my God, the best years are ahead of me. I've been sharing that with everybody. And it gives them a jolt. And so boomers, corporate America is kicking them to the curb, retire. What kind of word is that? Right? You guys still have juice left in the tank. You still have ability to contribute. You're not over the hill. Anyway, I can go on and on and on. You're too young to be old. So we love these guys. Encore career, second career. It's unbelievable. Xers, that's my group. We know corporate America is not going to get us there. Millennials have kind of sat back and said, you're all a mess. I've watched what's happened. I'm not following that. They don't trust the industry at all. They love us because it's a real mission. There's real purpose and passion behind it. So this is one of the things that gets me out of bed. 63% of Americans are more afraid of outliving their money over dying. That's a crazy stat, is it not? So one of the big problems we solve is making sure that people don't outlive their money. So you guys like extreme makeover shows? HGTV, so you better watch extreme real estate makeover shows. All right, so this is Extreme Makeover financial version. Okay, no one's picked this up on HGTV yet, but we're gonna do it because we got great before and after stories. We have thousands of them and they never get old. So I'm gonna share one of my favorite stories, just so you guys get it. All right, my client, Tanya, comes to me in 2003. She's a CPA, certified management accountant. Her IQ is here, mine's here. She gets referred to me. I'm kind of scared of her, right? I'm still kind of scared of her. Anyway, she's a tough woman. She sits down. She's one of my first clients that was actually really clear about what she wanted. And it's been over 11 years. Unbelievable. She said, March of 2011, I'm retiring. You're my guy. I'm like, I can't screw this up, right? So I actually start talking. I didn't have the confidence then I do now. So I start talking her out of it. I'm like, there's this lady named Susie Orman. Just watch her shows, read her books. You'll be good. Right? There's, Kramer. He's got a stock picking show every night. He gets excited, right? Horns and lightning rounds and like, just, you're a smart woman. Do it on your own. She taught me a great lesson. One of the greatest lessons of my career. When your emotion goes up, your intelligence goes down. Have you ever heard that before? Your emotion goes up, your intelligence goes down. Who's ever been in a fight with their spouse, significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend? Evan admits it. Oh my God. Evan Reeve been in one fight. Unbelievable. Right? So, my wife, she's not on, right? She's not on Zoom? Okay. Yes. All right. So, I can tell a story about her. Don't you? You sure? Better check. She's sneaky, man. Sometimes she changes her name. Sometimes she changes her name in there. You see, like Yvonne could be her. Okay. Anyway. So, my wife, unbelievable lady. She's about this tall. Everyone's scared of her. Okay? Every once in a while. Happened a couple of weeks ago. She says something. My emotion goes up. My intelligence goes down. I react in the heat of the moment. Guys, you ever done this? It's just me. It's always just me. In college, we're the only two stupid dudes that do this, right? So I react. Words come out. Words are coming out. And right as they're coming out, I'm like, my hand's like trying to catch. No, right? Words hits her ears. Volcanic Marlowe's ugly sight. I pay the price, and it keeps the payback period keeps getting longer. Nobody told me that when I got married. I think I'm pretty emotionally intelligent, but guess what? I'm not a human being. I'm a human being. We're emotional. Our emotion goes up, intelligence goes down. So the point of that is my client taught me that people roll that way with their money. You know, what do you do? What's the big difference you make? I'm like, we help you avoid making the dumb mistake you'll never recover from. So my client, she's like, I need you because you're not me. I'm like, got it. Let's go to work. So we went to work. She avoided the downturn in 2008. And we did all sorts of things, helped her pay off debt. March of 11, bless you. March of 11, cocktail hour, favorite client, one of my favorite clients. And one of the most favorite things I get to do is look people in the eye and say, you will never, ever, ever, ever worry about running out of money. Unbelievable feeling. She's like, I got financial peace of mind. I'm like, sis, you got financial peace of mind. I think one of our goals in life, outside of serving people, is to have peace. And I don't think you're gonna have true peace unless you have financial peace. And so, guess what? She retired. And before COVID shut her down, but now she's back at it. She was doing her 3 or 4 cruises a year. How do I know she's on a cruise? I wake up early, 5 a.m., email from her, 4 pages long. I woke up today. And I took a walk and I ate a muffin and then I did this and I did that, like literally giving me the count of everything she did. Some of these cruises are like 21 days. I'm like, Jiminy Christmas, woman. Like, just, is there cliff notes of this? I mean, like, but it's unbelievable. She's reaching out to me. Her advisor, talking about what she's doing because of what we were able to do. I saw her a few months ago. I said, it's unbelievable. Like, you're taking all this money out. You have more money today than you did when you retired. It's just, anyway, it's unbelievable. Never get sick of that feeling. And we've done it a lot. But for everyone we help, there's tens of thousands, if not millions of people that we never get to. That's why we are encouraging people to come play and help us find those people, because it's worth it. What's going on with this thing? Am I pointing the right thing? All right. So this is a great view of what we do. So this is kind of the tip of the day. When you fly, make sure the plane has 2 wings. Is that, Josh, is that good? Is that, I mean, you're ex-military, is that good?
Most days.
Most days it's good. Most days it's good. However, people financially are trying to fly with 1 wing. 401k, Social Security, maybe pension, I hope the pensions cover it. Pensions have been annihilated over the last several decades, but it's not gonna work. There's only 1 wing. Not gonna do it. I think this side, it's personal savings. I think it's you gotta be an entrepreneur. You gotta get something going. You gotta make money being an entrepreneur to make it up, right? So what we do, it's page 76 of the book. If you don't have a book, make sure you get one. Here's what we walk people through, those that are looking at us from a potential client standpoint. It's called 7 money milestones. First is we want to get you financially literate, get you a book, not turn you into a PhD, but make you aware so you can actually make good decisions. Okay, proper protection. Life insurance, it's a huge market. It's unbelievable. That's a important non-urgent thing that most people blow off until it becomes urgent, and it's always too late. Okay, when something happens there, your biggest asset is not your home or your car, it's your ability to make money. Second big one on that, probably the biggest market we're dealing with right now is called long-term care insurance. It's unbelievable. We'll talk about inflation in an area that's obscene. Assisted living facilities, long-term care, that inflation rate is crazy, well in excess of 10%. I didn't get it until I was sitting through a long-term care certification class. I was 42, 50 now. And the trainer kind of sensed my skepticism. He said, hey, if you knew there's a 75% chance your house is going to burn down, what would you do? Probably get some coverage, right? Well, if you go over the age of 65, there is a 75% chance you're going to have an assisted living challenge. He said, which assets are you going to pull on? He said, can you imagine saving your whole life and then giving it back for something like that? You should probably protect it. It blew me away. Got me in an instant movement. I got home. My wife was fully licensed. Got my first LTC policy when I was 42. It's unbelievable. And I mean, it's just, if you've dealt with it, it's nuts. So we got to get people protected there. Emergencies, emergency fund, reserves, savings, debt management, student loan debt, helping people eliminate debt, cash flow, budgeting, cash flow, earning additional expenses, or I'm sorry, earning additional income. Okay, that's the E to E. That's becoming an entrepreneur. 6 is build wealth. How much am I actually going to need? Do I have enough money so I don't outlive, right, my money? Do I have enough? Let's calculate that. Protect wealth. Anyway, 7 steps, 2-step process. We're independent. We work with every financial services company out there, right? Your agenda is our agenda. We don't have an agenda. We're not coming in and trying to pitch a product to you. So that's how we operate. So one of the tools that we use is kind of a foundational solution is called the Swiss Army knife. Does anybody camp?
No.
Okay. I can't, but my wife doesn't camp. She's kind of a diva. Anyway. Doesn't work. Camping is hotel window open to her. But what I heard is what I heard is when you go camping, the thing you don't do is you don't go into the kitchen, grab a knife, fork, spoon, corkscrew, throw that in your pocket, 10 pounds of stuff, you run out. You grab a tool called a Swiss Army knife that has multiple tools. So one of the foundational products that we have is called the Swiss Army knife. And what it does is it has 0 market risk. So how cool is 0 market risk right now? It's pretty good. Okay. Long-term care. You can add long-term care to as a tool, and it's cost-effective versus traditional long-term care. Different tax-deferred growth. I mean, it's unbelievable. So this is one of the #1 ways that me and my wife actually invest. Cranking out good 8-9% fixed returns. Okay, we can add all these tools to it. We can avoid taxes. It's super powerful. And the way the money works, the way the investment account works inside this, we call this the tic-tac-toe of investing. On this side, we have fixed accounts. Okay, bank accounts. How are those doing for you? Awesome, right? Like average rates 0.09%. What's that going to do for you? If you put $1 in a 0.09%, you want to double it, it's going to take you 800 years. Probably not a good thing for you. And we laugh, but there's $10 trillion in the United States today sitting in those types of accounts. $10 trillion. Crazy, but you can't lose, okay? And then on this side, right, equity's great, been fun the last couple of years, not so fun right now. So how do we get the best of both worlds? Well, we want to make money, we don't want to lose money, index accounts, super cool. Good stuff. And it's been cool to tell our clients, don't worry about it. It's all good. You're locking in interest, the money you made last year, you're not losing any of it. It's awesome. So Swiss Army knife, follow up with whoever invited you, take a look at that. So let's switch to second thing we do, E2E, helping people become entrepreneurs. So what I love about us is we address in our model the 5 concerns that people have when starting a business. Number 1 is money. So when I was looking at an entrepreneurial business, it's like, oh yeah, give us $250,000, give us 500, give us all this stuff. McDonald's, $2 million. The average McDonald's business net income per year, 150 grand. Let's do the math. Take you 13.33 years to break even. Not my kind of deal. Here, a few $100 to get licensed. If you want to get fully licensed, add all the licenses, be a fully licensed doctor, $1,200-1,500. That break even point for me was a couple months. It was worth it, right? So time. People are like, I don't have time. Anybody ever say you don't have time? Okay, don't say that again. Don't say you're busy ever. Don't say you don't have time. And don't say you're tired. Anyway, I stopped saying those 3 things about 10 years ago. So I have a lot of energy. I don't keep telling myself I'm tired. Anyway, this isn't a personal development seminar, really. Please move on. All right, so time. So there's a 9-minute video. We'd love for you to watch. My good friend, JD Phillips, one of our partners in Atlanta, Georgia, did it because people are like, well, I don't have time to do this business. He's like, what? Okay, let me study this. We have 168 hours a week, 24 times 7. That's math. It's good stuff. 24 times 7, 168 hours a week. So what he did is he gave people plenty of time for the priorities of their life. He gave them 3 hours a day to eat. I just watched a bunch of you guys eat. No way you're taking 3 hours, right? I know I don't, but you got 3 hours to eat. Get to sleep 8 hours. Get to go to church. Get to go do all this stuff. Get to have fun. Get to he can only literally account for 124 hours. 144 hours. I'm sorry, 144 hours. 144 hours. 168, he could account for 144 with y'all spending 3 hours a day eating. What does that say? There's 24 hours in there. I think it goes to the weapon of mass distraction. So when people are, I don't have time, total cop out. You do. You actually have time. So if you're going to do an interview with us, don't say I don't have time, because we love you. There'll be a smoking crater where you once stood, right? The smoking crater once said, bring me the sharks with the lasers. Bring me the sharks with the lasers. All right, knowledge. Don't need to have a background. We'll cover that. Need. I've kicked that dead horse. Tremendous need. Not enough people serving that need. Risk. Part-time. 60% of my group's part-time. 40% is full-time. We would look more like a Remax, Keller Williams on the real estate side brought to financial services. That's why we're growing. So we had a record 2021, 22 is half my guys don't ever want to go full-time, but man, I can give you 16 hours a week. I want to do something. I want to make more money. I want to make an impact. So the risk is off, which is good. And I love this because this really explains in a simple picture what we're all about. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Somebody read that book? Very good book. Mandatory. Well, we are who he's talking about. In the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Poor Dad, 8 degrees, superintendent of the Hawaii school system. Told Robert what my dad told me. Go to school, get good grades. Everything's going to turn out sunshine, lollipops, and roses. With all those degrees and all those doctorates, his dad died broke. Okay? He said, become an employee. Well, we all go down that route. If it works for you and it's purpose-driven and passion and all that stuff, then cool. I'm not knocking it. It's just financially, normally is not going to get you to where you need to get to. People People get sick of this, they go into self-employment world. They go from trading time to money to cut a deal, get a check, right? Realtors, mortgage, CPA, a lot of financial advisors, all that. January 1st comes around. It's one of my favorite questions. What do you got to do this year? And they're like, oh, I'm not going to do it again. Okay, great. How about you, Chris? I want to go do it again. Totally different. I don't have to, okay? Because I chose to be this, which is become a business owner, find a system, right? So rich dad, best friend's dad, high school dropout, became the wealthiest man in Hawaii. Sat down, drew this on a napkin for Robert. Said, I love your dad. He doesn't know what he's talking about around money. He's got education, but he doesn't understand financial education. 96% live over there, the 4% live over here. How do I get over there? Got to be a business owner. Got to have a system. Why do people spend $2 million on McDonald's? Because they're looking for a system. For us, a few $100, we give you the system. It's not 2 million. Okay, it's unbelievable. And then you make so much money passively off your business, then you start investing, whatever that is, what we provide, real estate, whatever. So you start creating financial independence in 2 buckets. It's a really cool place to be. So as it relates to us, how do you do it? Well, keep your job, get a license, give us 6 to 10 hours a week. At some point, if you want to, you jump ship, you move into this world, okay? We train you on how to expand and open offices and do those things in leadership. And then you step into becoming this. It's a really cool place. And so the reason I'm still after it, 23 years into it, I want to get way more people from that left side to the right side. And it never, ever, ever gets old. So we're looking for people that are, interested in that. And also you have the similar core values. That's our number one guy in the company, one of my greatest mentors. Greatest compliment you receive in leadership. They taught me principles that when I applied them, my life improved. That's what we're about. It's not about bringing people into business so they can sell stuff. It's about attracting people into business so we can coach, teach, train, and mentor them so they have a better life. Never gets old. Very purpose-driven. But personal growth, family, strength of character, teamwork, recognition. This is what we're all about. This isn't lip service. You guys can follow up with the people who invite you. We have people that have been here for decades. This is a volunteer army. They don't hang out someplace where they're not loved. Right? It's rare. Super rare. These are some of our success stories. The power of a system. I love no experience required. Former basketball coach, former CPA. Caldwell sold drugs. Right? It's so easy. He's so easy. He's such an easy mark, right? He said, right, brother, he's an easy target. It's called not an easy target. I mean, he just asked for it, right? So he sold drugs. Anyway, he was in health supplements. Yeah. Anyway, Greg's not. We love Greg. Got it? Drug dealer. All right. He's staring at me through the window. Try to have some fun. Realtor, cop, ex-cop, Lewis Ellis, love him. Knobber was a dropout cook in a nursing home. Reed's the only rocket scientist. Reed told me, he's like, yeah, I used to go to college and not take notes. Like, what kind of freaking, what? Don't ever tell me that. Is he listening? I don't take notes. He went to Georgetown. I don't take notes. All right. So hopefully your kids take notes. Anyway, you guys are getting it. Bookkeeper, my wife was a hairstylist. Unbelievable. She's quoted in Market Watch and U.S. News and World Report. There's Steve Siebold. If you're a football fan like me, as the great Marshall Faulk, Hall of Fame running back for the Los Angeles Rams, gave up his broadcasting career. Full time with us. 6 months. Took a 6-month research project on us, came on board. He's a very, very sharp guy. Tenza. All right. Did that just happen? Yes. Did her face just pop in?
Just right now.
Wait, how'd that happen? I was like, did you guys see that? That's fucking crazy. Did you see that? Okay. All right. This thing's not working very well. All right. Dude, that was funny. What the hell is that? Came out. All right. We got to wrap up. We're having too much fun. All right. So compensation. This is just a very simple example. When somebody has their initial license, they come on board with us. When you help a family, on average, you make about $1,000. Okay, And that's very, very basic. What I loved about this was when I came on board and in my corporate career, I always wanted to know what it took to get ahead. And I could never get a straight answer. You guys ever been in that situation before? Like how do I move ahead? Well, and it's always this, well, yeah, they don't know. And they tell you stuff, you get 12 different answers, super frustrating. And what I loved about this is when I sat down to my follow-up interview, I'm like, how do I own my own business? And he said, here it is, no secret. Why do we attract a lot of females? There's no separate pay scale for females over men. Why do we attract people from different backgrounds? There's no BS. You do it, you get it. You don't, you don't. Very objective. So it was super clear about what it took for me to move ahead. And so anyway, and what I loved about it, no cap. If I didn't make it happen, shame on me. But I couldn't cap my income, which is awesome. So let me wrap up a couple things, then we will be done. All right. So follow-up, different things to think about here. I want to look at being a client. So you guys on the back of your notepad there, you'll have some feedback forms. When I'm done speaking, we'll ask that you guys fill that out. Give us an interest level of scale 1 to 10. Check the box that's appropriate. If you're not interested, check that box. We're not going to chase you out the parking lot and call you every day for the next 3 months, right? We're okay. Josh might, with his son, because he has to live with you. But that's okay. But hope you can make some connections for whoever invited you. Client, go through the 7 money milestones. Part-time, everybody starts part-time with us. Transitioning full-time, that's a process. Talk about it in the game plan when we start you up. So let me give you an idea of who we're looking for so we don't waste each other's time. Number one is our ideal people that take this on as a career. You must have a heart for helping people. I know that sounds crazy, but we've had people come over and they're like, I want to help people, but they're all about the money. Those people never make it here. They never make it here. They take shortcuts. They do stupid stuff. We're not interested in those people, okay? However, if you do great for people, you will do well financially. Serve people, go to the bank in that order. We'll never have a problem. Second is you must want to grow and develop. If you're about your comfort zone, this is not the place for you, okay? Because what you want your life to look like is over here. It's outside the comfort zone. We got to coach you and love you. Sometimes it's a hug, sometimes it's a kick to get over there, right? So that you can achieve that, okay? Last thing is you got to be coachable. Has anybody ever worked with uncoachable people? Is it fun? No, it's a whole nother part of my career I never want to look at again. We're not interested in people that aren't coachable. But if you want to help people, if you want to grow and develop, and you're coachable, greatest business opportunity, I believe, that exists. So, good questions as we're wrapping up. What's going on with that?
Battery.
Great questions. Great thinking, great answers. So, for the centers of influence out there that you're just here kind of listening for somebody else, we would love to set a time with you and make good connections. Not necessarily, if you know people you think would be interested, great, but we want to network. Networking's everything, okay? So actually do an intentional follow-up meeting with whoever invited you. Do you think this could help you or your family? Are you intrigued by this business? I was asked these things back in the day. I was super intrigued. I was asked why I would do it. I had a huge list of why. You guys heard it on the front end. But I was asked a great question. Can I think of a reason why I wouldn't give it a shot? I was like, no, outside of it being uncomfortable because I don't have the background, but whatever you do today, you knew nothing about that when you started that either, right? One of my favorite quotes is everything is figure outable. Everything is figure outable. And I knew I wouldn't know unless I gave it a legitimate shot. And I knew if I didn't give it a legitimate shot, it would always be in the back of my mind. Why didn't you do that? You should have done that. So I made the decision, small steps, put one foot in front of the other. And it's amazing when you make a decision, then you start finding all sorts of evidence, right? I found a quote. Most men and women die at 25. We just wait till they're 85 to bury them. What was he talking about? They just kind of give up and settle and coast throughout their lives, right? They stop. I'm like, I want that to be me. And then I found an article, USA Today. They interviewed 10,000 people over the age of 80. If you had to do it differently, what would you have done? Oh my Lord. It's heartbreaking. Every single one of them was, oh, I would have done that. I would have started that business. I would have taken that. I would have got outside my comfort zone. I would have taken more risk. And they all had the one thing I didn't want to have. And that was any kind of regrets. That's a bad time to figure it out. So follow up with whoever invited you. We'll have questions for you. We'll answer your questions. And if it's a fit, hopefully I'll welcome you guys to this incredible mission of stamping out and eradicating financial illiteracy in the United States. So please fill that out, set a time with whoever invited you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Good job, man. You did good, man. That was good. That door did not move. That door didn't move at all, brother. That was good. Good job, drug dealer. Good
Yeah, a lot of them. So infamous. Infamous. Yeah.